Welcome to a brand new episode of Pd&J. What's good today? I am your host with the most, your boy J Dub the King in the building from Discussions with Jay.
And this what's good, but we not in the hood pocket from about what about out of pocket.
Now, what we're going to be doing today is we got a very, very uncandid conversation. Pocket, let me ask you this. So I know you see what's going on in regards to with COVID and sports in general, all these teams catching the virus and different protocols and new sanctions coming into place, so on and so forth. Little Birdie told me on the story that I was reading that this Sunday, a lot of teams in the NFL are going to be sitting a lot of their starters just because they want to avoid them possibly catching it, especially if they're playoff bound. What do you think about that?
Well, if you realize a lot of players that are getting it aren't even playing. They're mostly are out. And then the ones that do get it, it's from being whatever interaction that they're having regardless. So holding them out isn't one thing. You're gonna put them in a bubble.
True. Now, that being said, we saw what happened when this pandemic first started. The NBA literally pioneered the shutdown. As far as that, do you see that happening again? As far as the shutdown in sports being a pioneer in that.
So what date is the Super Bowl?
February 5th, I believe.
No, it's actually moved a week later, so it's the 12th.
Oh, did they move it?
Yeah, remember because they added a week.
Okay.
So if the Super Bowl is February 12th, I predict by February 18th that we will have a shutdown.
So there is going to be another shutdown. Explain.
February 18th. Well, you see, if you think about it, the granddaddy of them all, as far as sports, as far as anything, as far as gatherings, is the Super Bowl, right?
Oh, and it's February 13th.
Yeah, so February 13th is what we're going to start seeing things change a little bit. We're going to be, because you see restrictions coming anyway. I mean, like, look at New York. You got to show your COVID badge showing that you're vaccinated.
Oh, for New Year's Eve. Yes.
And that's actually not even just New Year's. If you go look on any restaurant you go to, you got to show that you're vaccinated.
And we do wish that everybody have a safe, happy New Year's is coming up. If you are vaccinated, definitely do keep your preparations on staying safe. If you're not vaccinated, do everything that you can not to catch this virus. It's not my personal opinion to tell you to get vaccinated or not. However, if you're not, do what you can to protect yourself. Those that are, stay protected.
Or you can reach out to Le'Veon Bell and and get you a COVID pass. It is too early. Is it too soon?
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. So that being said, with the pandemic increasing in numbers with this new strain that's going on, we talked about a shutdown. What do you think that would have an impact on economic wise?
So economically, what you got to look at, we just came out of a shutdown. Kind of seems like we're still in a semi-shutdown, right? Because you still got to do certain ramifications. Certain places still have it where they're only accepting maybe 10 people at a time, 15 people at a time. Okay, so we're still in a semi-shutdown.
Okay.
But we go to another full shutdown. The thing is, can businesses handle it? Small business, no. No. Big business, they can absorb the loss. Do they want to absorb it?
Here's where I'll disagree with you at, and we kind of touched on this earlier. I think we're in a better position to handle a shutdown now than what we did before. Business-wise, people that are working, that have the capability of being able to work from home, that opportunity will be afforded to them. Yeah, just as fast as you went back into the office, you're going to have to come back out, but you're not going to be out of work. And so as far as being prepared economically for a shutdown, I think there's still a growth in there, but we are better now than what we would have been 2 years ago.
Are we? Because think about it. How many companies have shut down since last time? And how many mom and pop shops just didn't survive regardless of the issue? They didn't survive. I wouldn't say we're better off. I just think we understand what we have to do better this time. Like, for instance, matter of fact, the next person that buys up this time all that doggone toilet paper and paper towels, I'm coming to your house. I'm going to show up on your doorstep.
Well, I don't know about showing up on your doorstep. I'm just gonna.
Well, if I gotta go, I gotta go. So I'm showing up on the goddamn doorstep.
I'm just gonna take your toilet paper.
Have you not heard of drop and run?
So, can you believe that during that whole pandemic, that when that happened, I actually had to go out and buy some toilet paper. A guy literally offered me $50 for a 24-pack of toilet paper. I'll tell you right now, if I wasn't in dire need of that motherfucker at that time, I probably would have took it.
Oh, thanks, by the way. That $50 went to some good use. But no, really, it just got crazy, didn't it?
It really did.
So, but
cleaning supplies, toilet paper. It's like, I hope you guys are still using that shit now. You better. Because if you went through all that and still need some, then you might want to go see a doctor.
Speaking of doctors, let me tell you, I went to the doctor and my copay went up
again.
I don't know how it went up. I just went 2 weeks ago.
Okay, somebody explain this to me.
I went 2 weeks ago and it was $11 my copay. I went today, today it was $21.
Okay, do you think it's the pandemic that's causing the inflection, even with medical bills right now, or do you think that's just inflation? Period.
Well, you've got
because somebody got to explain it to me. I don't know
what I understand. Is the pandemic has caused a lot of things to go sideways. Inflation happened because, again, you have the ships that are out in the sea, which, I mean, if I had a boat, personally, I'd go help these ships get this stuff in. I just charge them a couple, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, every trip to bring stuff off the ship in. I mean, you got to work together here, people. You help me to help you. You help me, I help you, right? You pay me a little something, I give you I give your transport back, and we work together. So these ships are still stuck because there ain't nobody being able to get to the ports. And then let's not even go to the transportation, which I feel sorry for the young gentleman in Colorado, which I didn't want to talk about this, but now we're talking about, I brought up shipping, that got 100 years for trying to save people's lives because his brakes went out in his vehicle. I mean, that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah, that is a whole, and
which pandemic related, I think.
And truth be told, I'm not a judge. I wasn't on the jury or anything like that, but I will tell you, 100+ years is just excessive. It's just period. Yes, I understand lives were taken. I understand that he was at fault. His brakes went out, or so on and so forth. But 100+ years is just uncalled for.
Well, here's the thing. You got to remember that it wasn't the judge's decision. He was bound by the law for each thing that he was.
Don't care.
No, you don't care. But here's the thing. Now, mind you, I'm waiting to hear what happens with the new judge that's doing the appeal. Because from what I understand, he's looking at everything
a little bit
differently. Because as we know, each thing is supposed to be judged individually. I don't know.
Now, here's the thing. Was he, and I don't know about his pedigree, was he a convicted felon?
Honestly, all I know, he was a truck driver. I really don't know.
Does he have a record?
Honestly, that's not what was brought in the case. The whole case was built around every law that was brought up against him right now and what Colorado law says that it's being.
That, but the point of what I'm trying to make is that you have career felons that get off with doing the minimal. Okay. Now, like I said, I don't know his track record.
Actually, I take that back. I did see he was a first-time offender, which really makes it egregious of the 100 years. It really makes it egregious. Thinking about that, this is a first-time offender who literally his brakes went out, tried to do whatever he could to save
lives.
I mean, yes, people died. We understand people died, and people understand that. But
My
there are more people
to those that
the families
yes.
that woke up on Christmas and was missing. So the others that were involved in this accident, and he's got to live with that the rest of his life. I'm quite sure he has nightmares. I'm quite sure he needs therapy. And now on top of that, his life is.
You're going to give this man 110 years for something that could have happened to anybody. Let's just be honest. It could have happened to anybody. But that being said, we're going to pay some bills right now. When we come back, stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to a brand new episode of What's Good Today, brought to you by Pd&J Media Productions. I am your host with the most, your boy J Dub the King from Discussions with Jay.
And I am from Out of Pocket. You never guess what my name is.
What?
My name is
Pocket. Wow.
Once again, here we go. So, getting back to what we were talking about briefly about our comrade in arms, and I say comrade in arms because everybody is a human being first. With this situation in Colorado, like we've said again, just to think that waking up, looking across the way, and your relatives are not there because of this man who tried to save many other lives, which he did, but some people didn't make it. And now all of a sudden, because of how the Colorado court system's set up, got to do 100 years. And I commend all the truck drivers that refuse to drive through Colorado now. I'm not quite sure you saw that too. So, of course, again, that goes back to our pandemic-related situation of
what's going on with the freights.
What's going on with the freight? I mean, now that you got to think, as a truck driver, do you want to even put yourself in a situation where your brakes may go out and you've done all the checks?
Have you seen the accident that went through Denver with a truck driver that jackknifed just trying to hit his brakes? Mm-hmm. So these situations happen, folks. It's not like this man intentionally woke up this morning and just said, hey, I'm going to get in my truck and I'm going to see how many people I'm going to kill today. I'm sure he did not have that on his mind. But just to know that he has a sentence of 110 years for an accident. Let's just break it down. An accident. And like I said, my condolences to the families that are hurting. And please don't take my opinion as throwing salt on the wound, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm sure deep down in your soul, you have to feel like 110 years is a little bit too much. Fuck a little bit. It's way too much. Way too much. 110 years? 110 years. It's not like he committed murder, like an intentional homicide. 110 years is just uncalled for.
And what's really funny to me is that if you look at the articles that are up, there's one of the drivers said he needs to serve 50 years. I got quiet because why should he serve 50?
Truckers, please patch in, send a comment, send us an email. We would like to get your opinion in regards to why you feel, especially that trucker involved. He deserves 50 years over an accident. Maybe there's something that goes on within trucking that I don't know. I'm not a trucker, so I don't know your logistics and everything of that nature. But to me, it doesn't seem premeditated. And something that deserves a sentence of 100+ years is something that's premeditated. Premeditated, meaning that he purposely went out to do harm. And I don't think that's what that man did.
When you think about, if you want to know why I'm passionate about this, in case a lot of people don't know, my dad, growing up, he was a truck driver. He was a gospel singer, but he was a truck driver. And he went through 5 times he broke his neck. And the 5th time was when he decided he couldn't do it anymore. And he survived every last one. So I know that truck drivers, it's rigorous. It's very rigorous. The long hours you guys put in, and then sometimes the time away from families, it's not worth it. I stand with you. It's not worth it to go through Colorado thinking that if I'm going to drive through, I got to think about what the law is going to do to me if something goes wrong with my truck.
Not only that, but we're in the midst of a 3rd wave of a pandemic. We cannot forget about that. This pandemic over the past couple of years has put a lot into perspective on many different fronts. So at the end of the day, we cannot take anything for granted, especially life itself. And for you to sit back and give this man 110 years, his life is over unless something steps in to intercede.
And that's why I'm glad the one judge said, you know what, he's going to look at lowering the sentence. Whatever he comes back with, as long as I don't know.
So let me ask you this then, Pop. How much time should he serve? There's no doubt that this man's going to serve time. There's no doubt, like, Does he deserve to serve time based off the statute of what happened? Yes, absolutely. 110 years? No. So that being said, how much time do you think?
No, when I think about it, let's look at it. So he needs to get some time, right? But I would almost say a suspended sentence
Whoa.
with probation.
Whoa. Okay, some people aren't
but-
going to like that one.
Yeah, they're not going to like it. But here's the
Explain
thing.
it.
Here's the thing. If you want anything to do, if you want to take his livelihood, you take his truck driving license. Okay, he can't drive trucks anymore. The thing
Civil
is,
suit too.
yes, he's going to have a civil suit.
Yeah.
We know all this is going to happen. His life is already over as we know it. He's going to have to, wherever he goes to get a job, the only thing he's going to probably be able to do is construction. And they ain't going to let him drive a truck. I can tell you that right now. Or a forklift. So he's basically limited what he can do. What I think he did best case scenario, yes. The truck was speeding through, his brakes went out. That's the story that we hear. Do we know? I haven't heard anything to rebut it, but I'm saying the story that we hear because we're not in the courtroom. So we know how things get twisted and muddled in translation. So yes, people say, why would I say a suspended sentence? Well, because look at the ramifications. One, he's got to go through, he's going to need therapy. He's got to make him face the families. If you want to do anything else, make him face the families. If you really want to see his impact, if you really want to see the impact of this situation, regardless of the 110 years, fine. I'd say a 20 years probation. That's a hell of a long time.
Never gonna happen.
20 years probation. Now, mind you, if anything, I can see the judge saying 15 years and 20, 5 years probation or something like that.
Now, was he charged with murder?
I believe it was vehicular manslaughter. So yeah, that's murder.
Okay, so
and I think it was 6 people that died, 6 people.
So I'm gonna say this: his life is already over. Just like you said, whether it's livelihood, whatever case may be. And other vehicular manslaughter or vehicular homicide trials and cases, the average person that's gotten time for how much is what? 15, 20 years, somewhere around there. It's never been a life sentence, though, right?
No, it's never been a life sentence.
Okay.
It's never been 110 years. But the whole thing is, when it comes to truck driving, you automatically lose your license if death
you
is
automatically. So that's done.
And this is the one thing that's one thing I didn't hear about his sentencing. I heard he was 110 years. So I mean, if he got out, he was if he was 138 years old, if he lived that long,
I think he needs to do a 25 with 25 concurrent on all counts, meaning that if there was 4 counts of vehicular manslaughter, he does 25 years. Now, with the possibility of parole, that's up to the court system, but 25 to run concurrent and go from there.
I guess here's my thing. So the thing I haven't looked at is if he had the truck inspected. That's where I was going. If he had the truck inspected and the brakes were found faulty, he didn't get it fixed, I hold him liable. If he had inspected, there was nothing wrong with those brakes, what do you do? What do you do in that situation?
Oh,
Then to me, it's kind of warranted. I hate saying this. It's kind of warranted the 50 years with no chance of probation.
now that's if he knew.
No, yeah, right. If he knew, but if it can be proved that nothing was wrong with those brakes, and he just said his brakes went out, obviously they should have reenacted. And I know there's a box in the trucks that can tell. Which again, I don't even think that was used in the case.
Like how airplanes got a black box and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a box in there. There's a box in cars as well with all the electronic and stuff in cars now in case something goes wrong. That's why if you tell at an accident, I was only going 30, and then it comes back, the box says you're doing 70. Remember Tiger Woods? What happened to him? They went to the box and saw what he was going.
But see, then again, nobody besides himself got injured. So
yeah, in that case, that's just as that. But in this one, like that box could be key. But again, when it comes to truck drivers, hey, like I said, I stand with you guys. I wouldn't drive through there. I wouldn't even want to drive in there in my car. I'll fly, I'll Uber, and I'll tell you what, I'll tell the Uber driver, you hit something, I'm suing you. and Uber. That's just the way I operate.
Now, I will say this. The 110 years is just too much for me. I don't think that's warranted. That's number one. Number two, sports, figure it out. Because I'm tired of you guys teasing me with a good time in regards to the sports that I want. And then based off numbers, you guys are going to be shutting down and stuff like that.
Hey, I'm going to tell you now. Ravens shut it down. 4 in a row. Shut it down. Down. No more. You teased me enough this year.
Well, I will say this. Whatever you got, I'm in favor of a lockdown. I'm in favor of a shutdown. How about
I'm in favor of the season being over all goddamn.
Well, I'm not talking about sports. I'm just talking about based off the pandemic and the shutdown and everything else like that. What are your thoughts on that? Like, if we were to go into a shutdown, would you be in favor of it, or
as long as the schools stay open?
This has been another episode of Pd&J What's Good Today podcast. I am your host with the most, J-Dub the King from Discussions with Jay.
I'm Pocket without a bottle rocket.
That's Pocket from Out of Pocket podcast. Make sure you tune into our exclusive content, exclusively available on Patreon. And if you like what we're discussing, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Show us your love. We'll show you our love. Once again, stay tuned. We'll see you next time.